Hey everybody, welcome back. Kenny Wisdom here for round 5 of the Oregon State Championships. On your left we have Polo Lee, and on your right we have Andrew Jackson. Two good, solid players from the Northwest who maybe have not quite gotten, not quite had like a huge run. Andrew, I know, is a former regional champion. I'm not sure if he's qualified for Worlds before. I think that he has, though, but I don't think he has consistently. And I know his interest in the game has waned as time has gone on. Polo Lee, on the other hand, is kind of in a similar situation. I don't think he's ever won a regionals, but he has, won cities, top 8, top 4, etc. at states and regionals. He's starting to play a little bit more seriously this year, but he's again been an off and on player. I think a couple of years ago when Polo first started playing, I thought he was. I wrote about him in an article saying that I thought he was going to be one of the new, better players from Washington State, and he, his interest in the game has come and gone. But I think that if he were to put his mind to it and get back into the game, like he appears to be doing this season, he'll do pretty well. He did have a top 8 at Oregon regionals, or top 4 maybe. He's had a couple other good performances this year, but I'm not sure where he's at in regard to his Worlds invite. So we see the Fighting Crobat deck again in Andrew's hands at 4-0. Seems to be a popular choice for this tournament. I know, as we've seen, Jacob Van Wagner, Jonathan Perrinotter, Tyler Namora, now Andrew Jackson. I know Serena Radu is on the deck as well. So it seems like a lot of the better players have gravitated towards this strategy. And Polo is on the Metal Bronzong deck. We saw Paul Johnston win Washington State with that last week. And I actually did a review of his deck. If you want to see the deck list, go ahead and go to our YouTube page at youtube.com/onthebubblepokemon. It should be one of the newest videos. It's just an overview of Paul Johnston's list, and I played a PTGO tournament with it that ended kind of strangely, but just showing you the list and how it went. And Paul isn't a great player. Paul is a good player as well. And Paul is one of the few metal I've seen in the field. I haven't been looking around the top tables, and I haven't quite seen as many of them as I would have expected. And there's a Bronzong for Polo, Bronzor, followed by a Juniper. And there's an Aegislash EX. The Aegislash is actually probably going to be pretty big versus the fighting deck. Not exactly sure how this matchup plays out, but Aegislash's ability prevents it from being damaged by any Pokemon with special energy attached to them. And so you see Andrews already has the Lucario with a strong energy attached, so I can imagine that's not going to be able to even attack a Aegislash anytime soon. So could be big. I also don't know if Polo plays Mewtwo. That is a choice that Paul Johnson made. I think most of the metal decks play Mewtwo, and that's pretty good versus Lucario as well if Andrew ever got in the position of having a Lucario with just basic fighting on it. And we see Polo resolves a Battle Compressor. Battle Compressor good in this matchup, or good in this deck, of course, because it can take metal energy, as we saw Polo grab 2 metal and put them into the discard pile, and to power up Bronzong's Metal Link's attack or ability. And we just see an attach to the Dialga and pass from Polo. And a second strong energy on the Lucario. So Andrew definitely committing there. We see a Dedenne on the bench as well. second Zubat. And there's a Hypnotoxic Laser and a Heads. So something really interesting about the Bronzong deck, I think, is that it's definitely an energy acceleration deck, but I'm not sure that it's... So the immediate conclusion that you draw is electric. There's a... For those of you who weren't playing back then, Electric from Noble Victories is a stage 1 that has an ability called Dynamotor. This is take an electric energy out of your reserve pile and attach it to one of your bench Pokemon. The same as the Bronzong's Metal Link ability, except for it was for electric energy and not metal. And that deck was it was very based on speed, and you were Ultra Balling electrics away to get a electric, to get Rayquaza EX, to get Zekrom, Black-White, and it was all based on this idea that you can just do a bunch of damage. Rayquaza had a damage that was modified depending on how many energy you discarded. And I'm not sure that's really where the Metal deck is out. The way I see the Metal deck, in my experience with it, has been kind of a slower deck that eventually presents inevitability in that, you know, it might get down a couple of prizes, but what will happen eventually is that it'll have a big Aegislash or a big Dialga, and when you knock it out or when you do damage, it doesn't matter because you knock it out, that's fine. They promote something with a Float Stone on it, and then they just Metal Links 3 times, and suddenly they have a big attacker. And although you may be ahead, their board state will always be so good that given, you know, as long as they draw reasonably well, and as long as, you know, they have a reasonable start compared to yours, they're just going to be able to kind of overpower you. And of course, like I said, they do need a reasonable start. They do need to get those Bronzongs early. They need a way to dump energy early, and they need to put up a defense pretty early because you see here, Andrew has the Dialga knocked out if Polo has to pass, and then Andrew can play a Golbat. So you definitely have to, you know, have a reasonable start and get things going, be aggressive. But I feel like the deck, if it can survive with a 3 or less prize deficit into turns, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8, it is just such a huge advantage over most decks in the field. Then there's a Bronzong from Polo. And there's a Versus Seeker getting back a Skyla. Polo immediately playing the Skyla. For a Float Stone. So I'm going to go ahead and, I imagine, Float Stone the Keldeo and then rush in to heal the poison off of the Dialga. And then with the Float Stone on the Keldeo, unless Andrew probably plays Zero Sick or some sort of tool removing card, Polo will always have that option to just rush in, heal my poison, heal my sleep, whatever it is, and then retreat for free. Which is a combo that's worked since Float Stone was printed, really. It was an immediate. I remember when a lot of the just big basics aggressive decks used to run that to avoid Hypnotoxic Laser and to get out of bad situations. And it looks like Polo's going to go ahead and Chrono Wind for 60, and the Lucario can't attack next turn. That effect does get reset if the Lucario manages to find its way to the bench via retreating, or what's more likely is a switch or an escape rope or some kind of switching card into the, let's say, the Zubat or any of the free retreat Pokemon, and then a retreat back to Lucario. We're going to reset that effect and knock out the Dialga. We'll see if, I don't know what the lines are like. I know I saw Jonathan Perenata playing an escape rope in his deck. I know that Jacob Van Wagner plays a copy of Switch in his, so it remains to be seen exactly what the count is, but I would imagine that Andrew has some sort of switch effect. And this is kind of the situation I was talking about, where you know, this Dialga, if it gets knocked out this turn, Polo will send up the Keldeo, and then he could do something like find my second Bronzong, attach from hand to Aegislash, Metalinks to Aegislash, deal 100, and I think he wants to find a third Bronzong in that spot. I think you really want to be able, especially versus a deck that can snipe with the Crobat and Golbat activations, I think you want to have as many Bronzongs as possible, but even still, just having that ability to go, okay, that's fine, you knocked me out, well, I'll respond by knocking you out. I'm like, oh, you knocked me out, well, now I have a big Aegislash. And what you can do, too, is you can kind of, I personally think Aegislash is really the key to the deck. I think it's the best attacker in the deck, and it prevents so much of Polo's action in regard to special energy. But you can also have turns where you go, okay, you took a while to knock me out, so I have 2 energy naturally from my Aegislash. Oh, now you knocked me out. Okay, I'll promote something with a Float Stone, Metalinks, attach, Muscle Band. And suddenly I have 6 energy. I'm doing 180 with a Muscle Band. And, if you can respond, it's probably going to take you, 2 turns. So you can just kind of repeat that process as much as you want. And I know Bronzong would have been something I would have liked to have had back in the days of Kling when the main problem with the deck was that Crushing Hammer was so prevalent you didn't have any way to get back energy. Besides, Clank's attack would put energy back on, but you didn't have any way to accelerate. And I can imagine that if you could rework the Kling shell a little bit to play maybe 2-2 or 3-2 Bronzong, you could get rid of one of the deck's weaknesses. Obviously, you're losing a little bit of consistency there, but I think it would have been pretty useful. And there is the second Bronzong. And there's the Cobalion, which is an interesting card. Speaking of Kling, I played plenty of Cobalions back in the day in Kling, and I think it's less useful here. I know back then it was really nice for blowing up special energy and then also getting through things like Sigilyph, because its Steel Bullet attack works like the Shred attack does on Rayquaza or Giratina, where it'll just go through all effects. So it was one of your main ways to beat a Sigilyph or a Suicune. And we see an end putting Andrew down to 4 cards. Polo up to 6. And Polo taking a moment to look through his discard. There's 80 damage. Andrew weighing his options, so let's see here. The Aegislash is 170 HP, so there's 150 left. So I don't think there's a way Andrew will be able to manipulate the damage besides a laser. Would a laser do it? So 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 100. No, a laser still wouldn't do it. I don't know where this Crobat damage is going. I'm just going to go straight to the active. considering attaching the second fighting. Gonna go ahead. Yep, and just gonna go ahead and draw back up. Oh, sorry, I didn't notice the fighting team. That is a knockout. Wow, that's huge for Andrew. Gonna be really hard for Polo to come back from this. Four prize deficit. Got Trevor Reed joining us in the booth again. How's it going, Trevor?
Good, good. Now sitting at 4-1. I just beat a Verizon Genesect to sort of vengeance the lost round too. Yeah. Headringer's good. So is roller skates. Praise roller skates.
So closing in on that top 8. Just they probably need 2 more wins. And 6-1-1 draw in.
Yeah. Yep. 2 more wins and then I can ID the last one. So yeah, maybe I can face 2 Landy bats. That'd be cool.
So we're watching Polo play his metal deck versus Andrew's fighting bats. Andrew's up by 4 prizes thanks to kind of a mediocre start by Polo. And from what I'm seeing, it seems like the fighting bats deck actually is a pretty good matchup here.
It does, because a lot of the metal decks doesn't really have the ability to tank out a 180 HP in 1 turn, whereas the bats have the damage pressure to sort of work the one-shots on the, like, whatever EX he brings up. Also being able to snipe off the Bronzongs for cheap prizes potentially. Also, Hulucha is insane against EXs, as we all know. So Metal can definitely fight back and beat it, especially with Aegislash limiting their strong energy attachments. But they need to get a pretty decent start, while the fighting deck needs to get doesn't need to get as good a start. Right.
Yeah. It seems like the raw power of the fighting deck is just more like the metal deck has a bigger, I think, late game, like a bigger potential of just like 3 Bronzongs, a bunch of energy, boom, boom. But the fighting deck just seems like a much more consistent damage output.
It has a stronger early and mid game for sure. If Metal can get to the late game and not be in a horrible position, it will probably close out the fighting. But as we're seeing here, the fighting has gotten the lead that it needs.
Yeah, a 4 prize deficit is so much to overcome.
Especially when they have the manipulation of bats and Lysander's a thing, and he can just keep throwing 1 prize Huluchas at Metal and just eventually overcome it that way.
Definitely, and there's the Heatran.
The Heatran will be pretty good if he can get the attack off this turn, because it'll hit for the 80 to take out that Lucario, forcing Andrew to respond with something that's not Hulucha. And that Lucario is already a little bit damaged, so another metal attach will be able to take it out. So this is where Polo will get back in the game with this Heatran.
And he does have the Steam Blast ready to go with the DCE. 2 metals on.
Oh, is he Steam Blasting?
Yeah. He couldn't do it with just the 80.
Oh, it didn't have 110 on it?
No, it had an 80 on it.
Oh, it had 80 on it. Oh, okay. I missaw that. Okay, so yeah, so he'll get into the game with this if Andrew can't remove it or something else immediately. Have we seen any healing cards from Polo, like Max Potion, AZ, or anything like that?
No, I imagine he does. I mean, almost every deck plays.
Yeah.
I think Paul Johnson's list played 2 AZ.
I believe so.
So you have to imagine that he does, but I haven't seen any yet in the game.
Yeah, it'll be a big question, because if he doesn't run healing, which I can't imagine him not. I thought I maybe saw a glimpse of an AZ in his hand, actually. Then he could just target bats onto something like the Keldeo or something like that. But with the 2 energy, does the Dedenne, does it resist steel?
Let's check.
It does. Okay, so the steel drop can't kill it by itself, so maybe some sort of, unless he can one-shot it through means maybe an energy short for 40, followed up by a Lucario next turn, or a Crobat next turn with some damage manipulation, might be able to take it out without losing too much position to it.
He also does have the Keldeo with the Float Stone, so at will he can Metal Links basically as much as he likes.
That's going to be the problem. If Andrew... Is that's a Golbat on the right of Andrew's field, right? Not a Crobat?
Yeah, the very rare one is a Golbat.
Okay. If he could potentially kill a Bronzong, that would be a pretty big boon to him. Like if he has the Lysander, Crobat, Strong Energy, or something like that.
Looks like that might be something he's considering.
Alternatively, if he can get that with a Landorus and then put another 30 on the other Bronzong, he could finish the game with other drops. But he might just be going like straight Landorus, which isn't bad because he can't tank him out.
Super scoop up.
Runs the super scoop up. Oh, wow. That was big. That was really big.
Zubat comes back down. Crobat's gonna come in.
Now, where's this damage going? Is he going to focus on the Heatran, or is he going to go for the we live in a world without Bronzong life?
I'm not sure, because at this point, it seems he's going to go for the Bronzong.
It'll be interesting to see if Polo can just slam down some sort of healing. Max Potion would be fantastic. AZ would be acceptable. As it stands, though, it's not a bad situation for me either way because he can put 50 on... Oh, another scoop up. Tails.
That's a miss.
He can put a 30 on the Bronzong, setting up for the Snipe next turn. His Landers won't die to anything that I know of in his deck. And then he still puts the 50 on the Heatran, setting that up to be killed the next turn by a Muscle Strong drop or a strong or some combination of 50 damage, which he's... our combination of 30 damage, which he's more than capable of doing.
Yeah, I don't think there's a way that the Landorus could potentially get knocked out next turn.
I think the cap is 170 with a muscle-bended Dialga, if he can do that. If he can get an Aegislash up, that could be scary.
Yeah, definitely. Andrew being pretty liberal with his special energy attachments. I guess you kind of have to if it's the only option you have.
The problem is if he skirts around it too much, especially when there's not even Aegislash on the board, then he'll get into a situation where he's not putting enough pressure early game, so then Metal gets to that late game that they want to get to. Definitely. And then he can start overpowering with the pure power of Metal Links, like we're seeing here, with Metal sneaking its way back into the game.
Yeah, I'm a really big fan of that sort of deck. It kind of reminds me of the old Kling Kling deck, where or any kind of really controlled deck, like even the old Vileplume decks, where you're just kind of you're losing, or at least you're not really winning, and then you get something set up to where you don't just win that turn like Excelgor would, but you just have such a raw inevitability from how powerful your cards are.
Exactly. Something I liked about my first real control deck that I enjoyed playing was the Truth, after I saw it at Worlds 2011.
Absolutely.
I played that for a couple seasons. Or a couple months or whatever.
Yeah.
But
yeah, people tried a bunch of different kinds of that deck. I remember there was the version with the Kyogre Groudon Legend. There was a version right after that. There was a version that was a little bit different that won the Oregon Regionals that year in the fall, like right after that Worlds.
A variant of the Truth that me and Chase Maloney made was You Can't Bury the Truth, which we ran the Beartic. The Beartic from Emerging Powers, the 3 colorless for 50 and they can't attack. And we ran that like with the Truth Energy, forcing them to always retreat their Pokemon or get just steamrolled by Beartic. Was actually a really cool deck. We had a little bit of success with it at Battle Roads. We weren't too competitive back then, but Beartic was a lot of fun to play. But only problem is it had a pretty bad matchup against Magnezone.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Pretty bad Magnezone matchup, but it was really fun.
I remember back in the day, Bidier Jing, who's a player from BC, he was playing the Truth with Machamp Prime.
Oh, Machamp Prime Truth,
and
yeah.
He set up this board state. He's playing in the top 16 of a regionals, and he set up this board state versus a M-board deck where he just couldn't lose. It was 1-1 prizes, but he had the Truth lockup basically, and then the M-board guy just drops the Secret Rare Pikachu from Black and White.
Oh
attaches,
my god!
And then 160s his I think it was one of the legends or something.
Suicune and Anti-Legend was
yeah,
Lightning,
exactly. It was just insane. Like I've feeling oh yeah, I got the game, whatever.
Got this unlocked next turn.
A card that's never seen play. Like Pikachu
drops
never
the
saw
Pikachu.
play.
Oh my gosh. Who's the player he faced in top 16? Do you remember?
No, it wasn't someone who plays all the time.
Oh,
He was just came in with his Pikachu check, beat Bidier, and left. So we see a Chrono Wind from the Dialga, putting 60 on that Landorus.
Very good play. Since he can't one-shot, you might as well go for the force Andrew to respond with Switch or Pass. And Pass would be really brutal. But if Andrew has a scoop up heads.
Yeah, he might actually just forego playing the Switch cards for the scoop ups. It's only been one game, but he has gone through a bit of his deck, and I haven't seen a Switch card. He's also been in this spot before. Oh, that was a
sneaky.
Bat. Okay, yeah.
Sneaky.
So he might just play the scoop up cards. I wouldn't recommend that strategy necessarily, but it is something he could have.
It's not something I dislike, but I'd myself personally probably run 1 to 2 Switch if I wasn't running a Toad deck. If I'm running a Toad deck, if I'm running any Switch, will be supporter based or maybe float, depending. Does he have the scoop up? There seems to be a lot of coin flips this moment. I mean, I'm running Sizotoad Garbodor, and I have like the full barrage of like catchers, roller skates, lasers, hammers, just everything. I've never flipped so much during like a tournament ever, and I feel really bad about myself for it.
I mean, it's just like the old Hammer Time days.
Oh boy!
And Andrew does have to pass, so.
Oh, that's fantastic for Polo.
This is really where the metal deck can start to come back. You see, Polo's likely going to take 2 prizes here, and then even things up. And
then, unless Andrew can take out the Heatran and the Bronzong, there's a very good chance of Polo winning the next turn with a Lysander on that Lucario, and then full metal impacting it for the win. So
I guess he does. So Andrew also ended himself to 2 there, but I guess something Polo does have to be afraid of is a Landorus Energy Hammerhead.
Yeah.
On the it doesn't even win, though.
It doesn't even win. And also, if Polo has the Lysander, which he's going to be getting 2 prizes here, has the 4 in hand plus the top deck. I'm assuming he's played a Lysander at this point, so probably Versus Seekers live. Or discarded a Lysander at some point. So he has a lot of cards to just have the win. And even then, even if Polo does, Andrew gets the Landorus Hammerhead, kills the Bronzong on the bench, he still needs other stuff. And look there, he's Ultra Balling. It looks like the Lysander, so his Versus Seekers are all...
No. He actually Versus Secret the Skyla for the Lysander.
So he's holding in hand, so unless Andrew off that end to 2 plus draw has an end, it'll be game over. Unless Andrew can somehow pull out a miraculous win.
And there's a knockout. And before you came over, I was talking exactly about how the metal deck can do this, about how if it gets to turn, 6, 7, it's going to be metal. And now that's
Andrew
the game.
sweeps it up. Yeah, even with the dominant board presence, metal's one of those decks that can just creep back into almost any game.
Absolutely.
Chrono Wind is really strong. Dynamotor-like abilities are really strong. I liked metal because it's reminiscent of electric of old days. However, the only reason I haven't been playing it like I did the old electric is mainly because the problem I've had with the deck is issues with consistency.
Oh, absolutely.
The deck, as strong as it is, there's a lot of times where you're just so clunky and then end up losing a game on consistency.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of alternate realities where Polo just doesn't draw the right combination of cards 1 or 2 of those turns and it's just out.
Or even a world where Andrew had another super scoop and got another heads flip for that.
Right. I was talking about this earlier. The old electric deck was just like, okay, I have 3 eels. I'm going to Rayquaza you every turn for knockout.
1 shot every turn.
And this one doesn't. This one is more of like, I'm going to lose for the first 5 turns, and if you let me get 3 Bronzongs on the board, I'll kill you over 6 turns, 7 turns.
And that's what I liked about Rayquaza. I ended up playing it for Oregon Regionals 2012, which is the regionals I won with it. And it was my first. I played Rayquaza before, but me and Chase went for a really consistent list. Opposed to before, we were teching for the mirror match, teching for this, teching for that. With this build, we just basically were like, okay, let's just one-shot everything. Let's just one-shot everything, get it as fast as possible. The mirror match, we have the baby Rayquaza for it, but that's what the world we're going to live in, is just consistency. And especially for something like a one-shot deck, I felt that was the way to go about it. If you can one-shot consistently, you're doing better than everybody else.
Definitely.
Sort of the theory of the deck that I'm playing today is that you're going to be so consistent that you'll get the turn 1 Toad, DCE, Laser Bank, Muscle Band every game, and most decks just fold to that.
Oh, we were testing last night at the local shop here, and I was playing. Liam handed me his Fairies deck, and I was playing against Grant's Toad deck. and I kept getting like really impressive starts. It was everything I needed, never had dead cards. And then I realized halfway through that Liam had taken out 4 lasers and 2 Verbanks from the deck. So I was just playing with like a 50 card deck with just all of my best cards in it.
Oh, if only, right? Just play with 50 card decks. Like,
you just play 4 DCE, 4 Toad, 4 Muscle Band, 4
laser, 3 Bank. Just be like every game, just like turn 1. Like, okay, I have this.
I got it again.
What do you know? Oh, you have like 1 turn of items? Have fun.
Honestly.
Oop, no supporters? Oops, that's going to be bad for you.
We'll see. Andrews start things off.
Oh. Start things off. Starting off with something I like about Landy Bats is that basically every starter is an optimal starter.
Oh yeah.
Like you pretty much don't have a bad starter picks for Jirachi, which is nice. But
and even Jirachi is better than in most decks because you have super scoop ups.
Yeah, there's some situations where you're like, oh, I don't have a supporter, but I started Jirachi and have a scoop up. Maybe this will work. I feel really greasy though when that does work like that. Like. Oh, and we got a laser turn 1 and an Ultra Ball search. Oh man, the amount of donks I would have had today if I could have attacked first turn.
So do you agree with getting the Lucario here over something like a Landorus?
Since he's not attacking first turn, I don't mind it because the utility of the Landorus in this match will be the 30 to the Bronzors. He can always do that next turn, whereas the Lucario, it could save him out of a dead hand by attacking with the Corkscrew. It's a little bit more effective on one-shotting things than having just to dump everything like the Landorus is. Like if he gets a Landorus, he can just attach to it and then Hammerhead then, and that's all you're really going to want to do with the Landorus.
You can set up the Landorus in 1 turn, that makes a lot of sense.
But then the Lucario needs like the extra turn, so you might as well go for it. And also, drawing cards is fun.
Definitely.
And looks like Polo stayed asleep. Doesn't matter greatly, probably.
Yeah, the only thing that it would matter, I guess, is if Polo wants to attach a Floatstone. But I mean, he's better served attaching that to a Keldeo.
Yeah, and it'll end up being the same world. But pretty good. Assuming Jackson has a supporter and like an energy, he's sitting in like a fantastic spot. Double Zubat out, the Lucario with the muscle, the fighting. He could start just destroying things with Corkscrew, go into that somersault kick and just take out EXs.
Absolutely.
Interesting to see if he attaches a strong energy to it, because that is quite a bit of investment if there's an Aegislash. But also, again, it depends if he's just going to go after the Aegislash or just go after killing the Bronzors and then kill the EXs. Probably depend on how much Bats and Lysanders he can pull out if he can get them. But I would really though like to see him Corkscrew Smash for 6 cards. Like if he can do that, I'd be really pleased.
Oh yeah, that's the dream world.
The value off of that would be insane.
So Polo does get the Keldeo, so I imagine he has a Floatstone in hand.
Yep. Must be a nice feeling when the laser does not matter.
Honestly. And there's a Battle Compressor from Polo. So what's your preferred Battle Compressor liner? You just drop 3 metal in there, drop 2 metal and a supporter, or?
I'm not even for decks that it's good with, I'm not a huge fan of compressoring away energy until the turn where I can use them. Because even if I have energy in discard, until I have the Bronzongs, I'd much rather them be in hand to attach. So I always feel weary about just straight off compressing energy. Like I played Manectric Black here last week, and I very rarely compressed away energy. I'd compress away a Lysander. If I needed a supporter, compress away a supporter. Compress away whatever dead cards for the matchup. But I wouldn't compress for energy until the turn that I would get them back. Because until the turn you get them back, you'd much rather be able to guarantee an attach per turn, because that'll serve you a lot more good.
Good thought. And looks like
like 1 metal is fine. Like especially if he has a lot of them, but. Like, I don't know. If that's a Sky, I think that's a Skylar, that's a metal, and there was something else.
I think it was 2 metals and a Skylar, yeah.
Okay. Like,
and there's the Fan Club.
If he has Bronzong in hand, or even if he has a metal attached in hand or something like that, I don't know. It'll probably end up being a good situation for him since he has the Fan Club. The metals make sense there, because he's very likely going to be getting into 2 Bronzongs the next turn, and then those 2 metals instantly become live.
Definitely.
So Dialga, Bronzong. Yeah, this is shaping up to be a really good start for Polo, especially if he has a supporter in hand, which I assume he does.
Hopefully. I mean, he played the fan club, so he's just sitting on that for this turn.
Oh yeah.
But I think that if he didn't have a supporter, he probably would have gone Ultra Ball for Jirachi.
Yeah,
on the Keldeo to set up next turn. Like the Heatran's fine. You know, it doesn't. He can sit there and take some beating.
I think there might be a Chorus in his hand or something of that.
That'd be probably the best option.
Ooh, and Andrew runs Acrobikes. Big fan of Acrobikes. Probably one of my favorite cards right now.
Oh, definitely.
It's basically a -3 out of your deck, which I'm a huge fan of. Minus the bike, the card you get, and the card you discard.
Also, it can feel. I mean, in a lot of decks, discarding almost anything is like you know, between the decks that want energy in their discard pile, or the decks that want support in your discard pile, like that's fine. Discarding is.
Oh yeah, discarding is fantastic. Also, especially with how utilized Trump card is right now, like you can be like, oh, I'll just toss these cards and it's fine. Like in an earlier game, I had tossed 3 DC off the first turn, and I'm like, it's fine, I have the Trump card.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, Trump card is also. It wasn't my favorite card at the start of Phantom Forces when it came out, but it's quickly become one of my favorite cards.
Yeah, I really didn't know how to feel about it at first. I just wasn't sure what it was really going to do, but it's proven to open up a lot of interesting strategies.
And I think one of the things that I like about it now is the fact that in combination with Acrobike that came out in Primal Clash, it's created a really good item-based draw where normally you only had really Slurpuff. So that good item-based draw really cycles through your deck. You can play the Trump and still get cards, or play the Trump and then next turn cycle through your deck, get back to the cards that you discarded, which I am a huge fan of.
Absolutely. And it's opened up a lot of, like, I don't think the Flareon decks, the Night March decks, and the Executor decks have gotten a lot better with battle compressors and Trump cards, and all these things just allow them to infinitely reuse their resources.
Oh yeah. Toad Slurpuff got a lot better. Oh, actually, Toad Slurpuff has only existed with Trump. So.
Yeah. I don't think you can run the deck without it.
No. Like, like a lot of the decks that wouldn't exist right now without Trump card, or at least not in the current form that they are. Like, the deck that I have, I could not play it that speedy if it was didn't have Trump in it.
Right.
Because otherwise I'd burn through the deck, burn through the resources way too fast. I find myself going through basically my entire deck to get 2 prizes and then doing that each time.
Yeah, I remember when I watched Jacob win regionals with the deck. The first match I streamed him in, I didn't see the Trump card at all, and I was like, oh man, maybe it's prize, and he didn't think about this because he's only has 1 card left, and the last card was a Trump card. It was so perfect.
Just flip the Trump.
Yeah.
Oh man, nothing feels better than trumping out of a 0-card deck into a full deck. Well, that or playing 4 roller skates, flipping 4 heads, that feels pretty good too.
Drawing 12 is pretty good.
Item Sharon is pretty good. They thought Bill was good. They never saw roller skates.
Chase decided to stay home today?
There wasn't a ride going down that had room, so he decided to stay. Yeah, he'd also need he'd need to have a top 4 to get any points from this. So.
Right. How's he sitting as far as top 16?
Pretty good, I think. I think he's somewhere in the 600s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
I think 600 without Worlds points. I'm not sure.
Do the Worlds points factor into the Worlds trip?
It hasn't said anything yet about them. I'm assuming Nationals points do.
Right.
Which means if you do top 4, you get an extra 300 bonus towards that, which is the only way I'm getting like a top 16. But I'm not sure. I think the answer will be yes by the end of it.
Right.
Because they'll calculate the Worlds points and then give out the travel stipends for Worlds. So
I imagine so.
Which means he'd have an extra 100 points on that, which would be.
So he's a lock.
Yeah, I think he's pretty much a lock for top 16. At the very least, he's a lock for top 16 national stipends and get a free flight to nationals.
Yeah.
Free flight money.
Is there any who has more than him? Like, does Sam Chen have more without Worlds points?
Without Worlds points, Sam Chen might. I don't know how he's done at States this year so far. Has he won at States?
Yeah.
Oh, he has won at States. Okay, so he's probably doing better. I don't know. Like, I keep losing track of how many States and regional Sam Chen wins.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then I don't know. I'm assuming Ryman Sablehouse has somewhere close to like 1 million points. So
somewhere around there.
And I know Kian Amani's at the top of the ladder right now, which I know he did well last year, but he's been doing like, just fantastic this year.
Yeah, there seems to be a certain point where I can't conceive of a way that Chase would miss. I guess I guess if a bunch of people who have like middling points, top 4 nats or something, but I just can't imagine an actual like real scenario.
Also, I think Chase only has like used 1 best finish limit for league challenges. So I think he still has like 5 best finishes for league challenges, which means like somewhere around like 75 points or whatever.
Yeah, it's totally worth it to grind out a few league challenges too for the.
Oh yeah.
Especially with the price of hotels in Boston.
Oh, are very expensive. So I'm hoping he gets the top 16 too.
yeah. Well, I'm on that plan as well.
And see here, Andrew's board is kind of weak on Pokemon right now. He should probably get a few more down. And Polo's board is really strong with that Double Bronzong Keldeo Float, active Dialga. I think he Chrono Winded that Lucario.
He sure did. And I've seen Andrew. We can see the players from where we're sitting, and I saw him with his head in his hands a little bit, kind of clearly upset about the situation.
It's become a really bad spot for Andrew. Because not only is even if he gets it out of the active, which I'm assuming he only has Super Scoop Ups, oh man, you'd have to get rid of all the energy. Or if he doesn't get it, he has to manually retreat the Lucario, throw away that strong energy, which would not be fun. But
he's going to be able to deal 100 here.
Potentially 120 if he can sick the stadium.
Yeah, that's true.
Does he run Silent Lab?
I think I saw one. I'm not sure between all the different fighting bats players we've seen today.
I'm not sure if it was Andrew's list, but I thought I heard something about a 2 Fighting Stadium, 1 Silent Lab. Might have been someone else's list. There's quite a bit of bats today.
Absolutely.
If I could face 2 more, that'd be cool. Oh, Acro Bike. Sick bike. Ooh, but it looks like he has a tough decision to make. Oh, he might have to discard a... his Twister is strong. Must be Super Scoop. Or...
Yeah, what was Super Scoop Up? It's the Unleashed printing.
I would have done that too. Yeah, like it's a tough choice, but in the end, you do have you do live in a world where you have Trump.
I see the computer search too, so he can get the fighting stadium.
Yeah, if he gets the fighting stadium, he hits for what 120, putting the Dialga at 170. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he'll need. Well, I guess he can't.
He's computer searching.
He's gonna go ahead and computer search.
Yep, gets the fighting stadium. Now it would be really devastating if Polo could get an AZ or something of the like. That would be pretty bad.
If he has a laser, though, imagine.
Does Andrew run laser?
I know. I don't think so.
Because that'd be pretty meta. Like, just tech the 1 to 2 laser, no bank. If they have the bank down, you have the laser. If they don't, you have the plus power.
Exactly.
Sick meta.
There's the Super Scuba Tails. Right, so that's helpful for Polo.
Oh,
we're just gonna see the retreat.
That's so rough for Andrew. Oh my gosh.
Oh, he does run the laser.
Oh, he does. Oh, it's so meta. Oh my gosh. That's so sick.
We have seen Polo in this spot before. We saw him down with a 4 prize deficit and then win the game pretty easily last time. So
if Polo has a medal, he can take out the Halucha. So it's nowhere close to like. The game is still going, but the fact that he has the laser means that he's still in this game.
Yeah, definitely, Andrew. That turned from a very bad situation to a fine one for him. Still not wanting to get rid of all his energy, but like you said, we live in a world with Lysander's trump card.
Yeah. Yeah, if he can trump card and then maybe get a good bike turn, or even just be in an okay spot for the turn trump, and then Sycamore, Juniper, whatever his preference is for the next turn. But oh man, I'm so pleased to see the laser. Oh, it's so good. So much damage and manipulation. I love it.
And
hitting
a Juniper. Digging for a medal, I assume.
He lives in a world without meta. He lives in a very sad world. Yeah. Andrew probably lamenting the fact that he didn't get the scoop up last turn. Oh, there's the double metal links. Does he have the metal? Or does he oh, he has a metal.
He does have the metal, okay. So there's the retreat, the knockout.
And Andrew's now in the back foot a little bit again.
This is going to be a pretty big turn, I think, depending on if Andrew has a basic energy in his hand. And we do see Polo has a Lysander in his hand if Andrew can't get the attack off with the Lucario.
Then he could just wipe out like Bat, or I'd probably wipe out a Bat, maybe leave the Lucario for 2 prizes at the end of the game. Wipe out a Bat, wipe out a source of damage. And there's the Colress
for 7. And we see Andrew plays the Landorus and attaches to it, so he's just on that plan.
Yeah, maybe try to get kill the Bronzong, kill the Aegislash in like 2 turns or something like that, or some variant of at least get it down to he can finish it off.
Also not sure how many energy Polo has in the discard pile, but if he can attach Metal Link's Muscle Band, he can knock out the Landorus. Obviously, it's asking for a lot to Metal Links twice and then have energy and band, but
that'd be a pretty.
It'd be a blowout for sure.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty sad world for Andrew. Now, if he has a compressor, this suddenly becomes a lot more feasible.
Oh, absolutely.
Or, unless he already just has the metals in this card, but I don't think he does.
I think he only has those.
Okay. That'd be pretty sick if he had them. Oh boy.
Actually, he must have one more because he attached.
Ooh.
He had 3 on the Dialga.
The Mime.
The Mime's a big game.
The Mime's pretty good. Like.
There's a compressor.
Oh my gosh, is this happening?
Because he had 3 on the Dialga, right?
Yes.
And we saw him compressor 1, and he attached 1 from his hand this turn, so he must have at least another one in there. Or sorry, he attached from his hand last turn. We see he compressors dumping Metal, Fan Club. Also, compressors are so good to dump the cards you don't need anymore. Like, I love a turn 1, dump a Lysander and 2 metals or whatever. But I just also love a turn 15, dump these 3 cards I don't need. Who cares anymore?
Well, my favorite thing is when you open up with the hand, you have like 2 or 3 compressors. You just dump 6 to 9 cards. Just you're like, I'm not going to need this. I'm not going to need this.
Yeah.
Or these things you predict that you're not going to need. Just like thinning out like 6 to 9 cards is fantastic. My favorite thing is just thinning of cards. Like one of my favorite things in Pokemon is the thinning of the cards, getting down to just the cards you need.
Absolutely, and there's an N.
Ooh.
So Polo's going to need to draw the Muscle Band Metal by him, off of the 5. But it is putting Andrew down to 3. And if Polo hits it, and then Andrew has 4 cards left after the draw step, I would bet that Polo's in the driver's seat.
Yeah. And
let's see the 5 cards.
I saw I think I see some 2 compressors. Or
I saw a compressor, a DCE, and a Versus Seeker.
That's not going to cut it. That Mime though is going to put in massive amounts of work.
Looks like Polo's going in with a Secret Sword.
Ooh, that's smart. Just get the 2-shot on it since he can't get he's going to be getting a 2-shot either way.
Yeah, and if anything happens, I mean, you have the Mime there. The Keldeo is one of the least relevant Pokemon in your deck. You want it for sure, but in a position like this, it's not an attacker. You're fine with it.
If he kills the Keldeo through means, it's better than killing the Aegislash, who could now start wiping out things.
Absolutely.
Acrobike off the top.
Acrobike. And a Super Scoop Up here would be devastating for Polo, but I feel like that's the case in every single turn.
Yeah. If Andrew gets like a Super Scoop Up at some point.
But I guess it's not actually that bad because there's a good chance that Polo can just knock it out with the Aegislash.
Yeah.
Assuming that he'll just...
I think it'll be a bigger deal more for the fact that he's forcing him to use the Aegislash at all. Start stacking damage on that, kill that, then spend a turn target tapping a Bronzong by bringing up with a Lysander bat energy sort of thing like that.
Absolutely.
Or actually no, Bronzong resists Psychic, I believe. I don't know. It'll have to be some shenanigans. And has Andrew played a support yet?
I don't think so. I just think he just played the acrobikes.
Oops, super scoop up.
Scoop up. Tails. All right. You can see Andrew getting visibly frustrated at that. Definitely would have been a huge play for him.
Yep, flips are 50% of the time. Flips tails 100% of the time.
And there's 7 cards. I didn't see another super scoop up, although I might have missed it.
I don't think he has it.
There's an Ultra Ball.
I think he lives in a world where Atlanders is going to die.
I guess you put it on the Bronzong?
Yes, a Crobat?
Yeah, it's a Crobat.
Yeah, I put it on the Bronzong. It's... Oh, Silent Lab. Oh, wow. He's in this game. Oh, wow. My gosh. That's fantastic.
How huge.
Oh, my gosh. That's fantastic. Oh, taking out the Bronzong. Oh, that was big.
Well, and this game has swung right back to Andrew. He will be losing the Landorus this turn, but
the biggest thing is the fact that now the Aegis Slash is also turned off. He can attach it strong to that Lucario, hit for 100 base, and then if he can drop a Golbat, he can wipe out the Aegis Slash in 1 turn. And since that's down to 1 Bronzong, and that's just using the he could just use the Keldeo, I guess. But at this point, because of that, he's probably going to be able to start just pressuring with a Lucario, force him to use that Aegis Slash, and then the second Lucario can finish him.
Wow, that Silent Lab just put Andrew right back into this game. What a huge play.
That was fantastic. Oh, he's going after that. That's an expected play. Yeah, Polo had to. Since he had the Lysander, he has to go over that Lucario. I'm trying to think if the Landers can kill it anyway. 30, 50, 70, 9. No, he can't kill it. He can put it up to 140, which would leave it pretty dead to a lot of things unless Polo can scoop it up with like an AZ or something like that. But then he'd also have to use a new attacker. Or actually, no, that Landers is pretty damaged. Maybe not. Maybe not. But man, fantastic Silent Lab, fantastic Laser.
Yeah, those 2 cards just came in clutch, and the game wasn't unwinnable for Andrew, but it definitely thrusted him right back into the driver's seat.
Each time it's basically it's negating aggression that Polo can get up with his Mime, with his just being bulky. Like, man, that was so clutch, so clutch.
And so Polo can still win here.
Yeah.
I think it's all going to depend on what that Lucario has going on.
Because how much does Aegis Slash hit for right now? It hits for 120 right now. So only way he could kill it would be if he got the Metal Links, an attach, and a Muscle Band. So yeah, attach Muscle Band, put it to 50, and then swapping it up. I like it. I like it.
Just gonna do 70.
Yep, 70 damage. And then does he have anything else?
No, he already declared.
But it does leave him in a world where the Landers can take it out with the Fighting Stadium.
I also think that Polo has a Max Potion in hand.
Ooh. Oh, well, that's good, and that's good, but it means he won't be able to kill the Lucario with the Aegis Slash.
Yeah, I'd have to imagine he would try and do something like... I imagine he has to do something like Lysander, the Landorus, Russian, knock it out, Max Potion, and then maybe, like, if he's lucky, attach and Metal Link, so at least he has 2 energy on that. And then if that happens, could the Keldeo get knocked out? 30, 50, 70? I don't think it could.
It could get hit for 110, I think. 30, 50, 70, 90, 20 from a bat, 110. Yeah, it could get dropped down to 30 HP, which would be pretty good. But at the same time, like, It depends on what he has, I guess. It'll mostly come down to what
Actually,
Andrew
it
has,
could get knocked out because it has 30 on it.
Yeah.
And if the... Oh, that's time.
Oh, so Polo... So basically Andrew's playing for the tie now, I think.
Yeah, so it's Polo's turn. Yeah, so... Interesting. So if Andrew manages to win, it just goes to a tie.
Yeah.
Right?
If Andrew wins the tie, if Polo does not lose this game before the 2 turns for Andrew are up, or he wins, it'll be a win for Polo. So kind of discouraging for Andrew probably because the best he can get into is a tie. But also kind of scary for Polo because Andrew's very close to making that tie.
So I think as I was saying, is that if Polo does have the max version of Hammer, I may have misread. I'm not sure. It might have been a valve compressor, but the Keldeo can get knocked out if Andrew has a strong. He's strong corkscrews for 80 plus the band 100 plus the stadium 120 plus 30 40 50 plus the bat.
Yeah,
so that's an option.
That's an option, but I'm uncertain what Andrew has in his hand. I don't think he played a supporter last turn.
I don't think so. It doesn't look like he has.
So I don't think he has many options in hand. I think he's mostly just going off the fact that Landers will be really strong in this situation, and hoping that he doesn't live in a world where, well, even if he one-shots him with the Aegis-Slash, the Landers naturally takes out the Aegis-Slash right now, so I think that's what he's just sort of banking on. What would be kind of bad is if he has the Lysander and can kill the Landers with the Keldeo.
He has the Versus Seeker, so he does have the Lysander if he wants it. It'll just depend, again, on if that sequence of plays can happen.
Yeah, if Andrew can get the full wombo.
The other thing is that you might...
Oh,
takes the AZ.
AZ. That's cool.
So at this point, he might just be playing to win 1-0.
He's probably just playing to stay alive, so I think like that. He'll probably... Well, Andrew has 2 turns.
Yeah, but if he can rush in, AZ, retreat, and say I have a 170 HP guy, you get a turn.
Who can't be hit by special energies right now. That'd be pretty sick.
Yeah, like you're doing like 80 damage maximum unless you draw something crazy.
And that Lucario does not have a strong energy on it, right?
No, just a basic fighting.
Okay. Well, it could hit for 100. If he has that energy, he could corkscrew for 100, just base. And then if he had with the corkscrew, if he drew into a Lysander or something like that, unless he's just going to sacrifice the Zong, which only way he's going to kill is if he has a strong or a 30, 50, a second energy and a bat, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's actually a fine play because he will need basically the same things he needs to knock out the Bronzong as the EX, except for is it? It might be. As I was saying, except for if he does knock out the Bronzong, he still take another prize and Polo have a fresh EX. So
it might depend if Polo has a he's rushing in. Yeah. But another reason might be dependent if Polo has a second AZ or a Versus Seeker. Because if he has that, he can just throw up the...
I mean, I guess what Polo can also do is just retreat to the Aegis-Slash.
Oh, he left the Keldeo up. What?
That seems like the riskiest one to me. There's an actual way that Keldeo gets knocked out. I don't think Andrew has it. Andrew drew a Zubat for the turn.
But that could potentially lead to Keldeo getting knocked out. Whereas with the Aegis-Slash, it doesn't. And even if... Yeah.
I think what you can pretty safely do is just promote the Aegis-Slash, and then whatever Andrew does, it's not getting knocked out for sure. And the next thing you promote the Bronzong, and you make Andrew have the Lysander.
Lysander with the combo.
Polo also just didn't attack. He might have been.
Yeah, he could have just attacked with the Keldeo.
Just done 50.
Yeah. Might as well, because then it gives him an option to wipe it out.
And since both EX is hard to kill, Aegis-Slash can execute or Keldeo can, and then put them ahead of prizes, and you make Polo win game.
Yeah, but even though the Keldeo would, even if it's a 50 on the Lucario at the very least, the Aegis-Slash would not be able to kill the Lucario next turn. Because all I could get is 1 energy from the Lynx, 1 energy from attach, that's 100, muscle band of 120. So Lucario wouldn't be able to die either way. So, I would have attacked, but I don't think it'll matter.
This is a great game, really back and forth.
Yeah. And then this is turn 2 time right now in Polo. So Andrew just knuckled, and then that was it.
Yep, and there's the AZ. So the AZ just resets, sends up the Aegis Slash. Andrew can't win. Polo Lee wins the match 1-0, advances to 5-0. That was great. That was a great series.
Yeah, it was back and forth. The Hypnotoxic Laser and the Silent Lab were just really cool to see played.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Trevor. You're not in the shot still.
Yeah,
but thank you, buddy.
We'll be right back.